From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Tasker and Andy.
Welcome to Tasker and Andy. I'm Luke Tasker, Andy Fantuz, together every week for our conversations on football, sometimes life, sometimes Ticats, sometimes the old days, sometimes the new days. Tuz, great to see you as always, my friend. The Ticats, as we're recording this right now, are in the playoffs, but not quite there yet, and still some work to be done in the last game of the season. Honestly, my entire biological football clock is off right now, because when we played, we'd be in the Grey Cup this week, or it was always either this weekend or next weekend, which is my way I know it is around American Thanksgiving. So my clock is off. My body's about to shut down. I'm about to start putting on some winter pounds and stop working out. But in the meantime, this team's still got all the playoffs ahead of them.
Yeah, totally strange this year, right? And you know, you're going to be having your Grey Cup parade might have a traffic jam with the Santa Claus parade. So
Exactly.
But yeah, I know it's certainly different, and you know, good thing the weather's been holding out for everybody's sake, really, for the players and the fans, and hopefully that keeps up. You know, we've got 4 weeks. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks left still. So
this is, I certainly never played a game in December in the CFL. Or in any other year of my of playing, but this year there'll be all three. Actually, the first playoff game this year, the semifinals will be still November, I believe, and then the semifinal or the Eastern Divisional Finals, and then the Grey Cup in December. So yeah, it's going to be different. But right so far, it's like you'd think you'd be battling snow. Right now, it's just been like a whether or not it's been raining during the games. Like we really haven't had all that, at least in the East, we haven't had crazy temperatures yet. So we'll see how the last weeks progress here.
Did you happen to see that game in Edmonton, the soccer game, the Canada versus Mexico?
No.
World Cup qualifier, and the Mexican team comes up to play, and it was minus 15, and Canada won. There was like a nice celly of one of the players just jumping in the snow, and
nice.
Very unique for
a Canadian player, obviously.
A Canadian player, yes.
Oh yeah,
very unique for football, but. It was funny because my understanding in that whole CONCACAF tournament is that they always try to really have a home field advantage, and sometimes the Canadian teams go down and play in different countries, and they'll have hecklers keeping them up all night, honking horns, ringing their doors, throwing stuff at them. Wow. So this time they came up to Edmonton, and they weren't allowed to practice on the field, either team. Mm-hmm. But Canada was able to find an indoor facility, and Mexico was not. So they just didn't even get a practice in, didn't get a walkthrough, whatever.
And I thought the CFL was the Wild West, man. That's some different kind of stuff. Amazing.
Oh yeah, cutthroat.
Right. So that they played in the stadium, right? Like the game was in the Eskimo in the Elks Stadium.
Yeah, Commonwealth. Yeah. It was looked like a lot of fun, but man, we've had some crazy roads to the Grey Cup, both of us. Both together and apart. Well, what was some of the unique ones for you?
Well, 2019 was easy. Don't get me wrong, you still have to win a playoff game, but it was that was just such a unique year for everything else, because we knew we were in first. Early on, I actually was playing in all of those games that didn't mean anything, because I had been injured the whole season. So I was trying to get out there, get some it was like a preseason game for me, because I was trying to get back into the mix of things. But we had a couple games that were meaningless, and then we had the Eastern Final, which was a crossover, and we were just a really good team. So that was that year was we knew we were going to have a chance at the Grey Cup early on, but that was it. Because the rest of the years that you and I were together for the 13 and 14 Grey Cup, but also for the years that we were fighting for going to the Eastern Final, man, we were always scrapping and clawing till the end. Very much more so like this Ticat team in 2021.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of similarities. Well, it was 2013 that Montreal came into it. No, it was 2000. Was it 2014 when Speedy had like three touchdowns?
Yeah.
Because it was at Tim Hortons Field. It had to be 2014.
But then Speedy also, when he was like number 87 or whatever, whichever number he came in with the dread, and he had long hair.
Yeah.
And that was at Guelph when Speedy and I came to the Ticats in the same week.
Right.
It was Speedy B, myself, and Steve McGee all came in the exact same week to be Ticats. And that was the Guelph years, McMaster practicing, and that year was actually very similar to what it actually could be the exact same playoff scenario as this year, where the regular season against Sask this year, then it will be the same layout because it'll be a home semifinal with Montreal to Toronto for the Eastern final. And that was our pathway in 13.
That was the game against Montreal where like Sean White tried to kick a 30-yard field goal and it almost went through the uprights and then the wind brought it back and it ended up landing at like the 10-yard line.
Yeah.
It was like
a boomerang.
Yeah, like a boomerang. Yeah. It went right to the goal line and ended up landing at the 10-yard line. That was so windy that day.
Yeah, that was a sloppy field. Yeah.
Yeah, that was ugly. Yeah. I remember we felt like we completely dominated, yet it still came right down to the end of the game, and we were lucky to get out of there with a win. We of course Hank was the quarterback that year, but that game Soley and Dan Lefevre both had like a bunch of packages and were important at the end of the game. It was it was an interesting like offensive approach we had that game. I was injured. I remember I was out with meniscus, and then I played. After that semifinal, I did play in Toronto in the Rogers Center. You and I have talked about that game before. Like that was just an unbelievable like football experience. I always loved the Rogers Center. Interesting, actually, you think about it. If this year shakes down the same, so if the Ticats get second place in the East and host the semifinal, it'll be the same same format with Montreal traveling to Hamilton and then the final in Toronto, but two different stadiums. Because in 2013 it was Guelph and Rogers Center. Now it's Tim Hortons Field and BMO, of course, but same layout. This year's strange, man. Toronto, like we talked about it leading into the Ticat Toronto game, but Toronto's just such an anomaly statistically, and now they find themselves with a long, like a super long break. Actually, I think they have a break in games that's like well over a week until their bye week, and then their semifinal, or then they're host the finals for the East. So really interesting team. That'll be a tough game, honestly, for whether it's the Ticats or Montreal. It's going to be tough to go to BMO and beat those guys. Yeah, Toronto's starting to find their stride there, and they got a lot of length on their team, and and some veteran present. But there were some opportunities in that game that were missed, and it just got too far behind the eight ball, in my opinion, to kind of crawl back into it. The Ticats put up a ton of offense in that second half, and just was a little bit too little, too late, and but certainly something to build on. And you just, I have some thoughts on that game, but you got to give Toronto credit. I mean, they took care of business. That's deserving of first place.
In 2013, we played Toronto back to back, late in the second half of the season, and it was my first games. It was my second and third game as a Ticat playing on the field, and I want to say that we won both of them, but Toronto still had a better record for the whole season. Do you remember those? We were in Guelph. I remember that is the game that I actually tore my meniscus on, then missed all the following games until we were back in Toronto for the Eastern final. But my first touchdown of my career was in that first matchup in the Center. When that matchup, finished the season still in second place, but then we're able to beat them for the third time straight in the Rogers Center for the Eastern final. It was awesome, man. It's great. Just a great. Every pathway is different,
No doubt. But you know what? You're still in a good spot. Like, you get control. You can control, right? And you got a game against Sask here to get that home game, which will be crucial.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be traveling to Montreal and then just go down to QEW if you can take care of business in the Eastern semis. So, but
were you ever a third place team, made it to the Grey Cup, like when you were in Sask?
No,
I don't think I ever. I mean, I know none of my Grey Cup years were third place teams. Even in 2014, we were first again. That was the most amazing playoff run, like the most amazing end of season playoff scenario. I'll never forget that. But what were your Sask appearances like?
So 2007, we were. Man, I gotta I feel like I need to double check it,
brother.
2007.
Oh,
it's like
baby.
when some of the players right now are born in that year.
Pretty soon we'll start seeing that. That's crazy, huh?
I think we hosted Calgary in the West semi, and we beat them, and then we had to travel to BC, and I remember that game pretty vividly. For the final, Dave Dickinson was, I think, quarterback still at the time for BC, and all Canadians scored all the touchdowns. So myself, Nick Neil Hughes, and Chris Zarka had the 3 touchdowns, and then we went to play at the Rogers Center for the final against Ryan Dinwiddie, quarterbacking the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah,
because Kevin Glenn had broke his leg in the East final that year.
Uh-huh.
So that was, we were second that year. And then 2009, I think we were first, and we got a bye, and then we hosted Calgary, and then we beat them, and then went to the final in Calgary. And then 2010, we were second, and we hosted BC, and then we had to go into Calgary and play in the Western final, and that was the game where it was minus 40. It was just ridiculous. I don't get it, man. I don't get why we play the whole season, and then you get to the most important games, and it's it's not even football. It's just
it's decided
survival.
by something else.
Yeah. And it was a game of, I don't know what it was, 10-6 or 11 to something really low scoring.
Yeah, some soccer scores.
Yeah, it was pathetic. But it was still fun, and we won, and then went on into play in Edmonton, but lost to Montreal both 2009 and 10 back-to-back years.
Yeah.
So I don't think we were ever third going there, but I have seen it before more than a few times.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. So it's really about who's playing the best at that time and who's the healthiest, right? And we all know that, all those cliches, but it's true. It's true. You want to find your stride at the right time, and you got to make it to the dance in order to have a chance. And the Ticats are there. So
honestly, it's a matter of just timing up your best football. It is amazing, and any team can do it. It's just the reason that those first place teams are constantly in the Grey Cup is because the bye week, but also they're playing the best. They've been able to time up their good plays. It's not that any team can't win at any time. It's just they've got a habit of making those plays when they need to. But exciting end that we're closing in on here. The Ticats have a chance to clinch another Tim Hortons Field appearance, which would be awesome. Tuz, by the way, congratulations on the new Fantuz family member. This is you snuck one in there at the end of the regular season here. We are glad to hear everybody's healthy. That's great, man.
Thank you very much, buddy. Yeah, we had a little baby girl, Scarlett May. Beautiful. On November 10th, last Wednesday, and so I had to sit out last game from the broadcast team, unfortunately. But one's healthy and happy, and we have a loving big sister now. She's 3.5, so 2 little girls, and a lot of estrogen over here, but we're doing all right.
Yeah, you're the lone wolf. I don't know anything about that, man. We've got nothing but little boys running around here. It's crazy. Let's trade one. That'd be fun. You can have your pick, I promise. That's good. Well, the best you didn't pull a daily. There was a year we were going out to Winnipeg, and Daly's child was going to be born, and like like I remember with Steele too. Like you're timing it up, and like you don't ever know if it's going to happen the morning of a game day, the night before, and sure enough. Daily News gets the call like the night before we're traveling to Winnipeg. But sure enough, didn't he go to the hospital, see his baby get born? We're already in Winnipeg. He flew out the morning of game day after not sleeping the whole night before the game. Got to the hotel. His roommate ordered room service for him and left the room. He took a 2-hour nap and went and started free safety for us in Winnipeg that night. I was like, bro, like, first of all, amazing job and congratulations, but also like how and why. Like, I don't know if I could have pulled that off, man. Like with no sleep, just goes and plays a professional football game starting free safety.
I know, right? I know. Yeah, it's I get it though. I get it, the competition and leaving letting your team down and whatnot. It's a little bit different when we're still a team and I still feel like I let you guys down, but not quite the same as a player.
Yeah, it's not quite the same. No,
it's not quite the same.
No,
not even a little bit. I was listening to some radio, and they're talking about quarterbacks and discussing whether or not they should be trying to make tackles when they throw interceptions, and it was sort of like, is it the cowardly thing to do to sort of just back away, that that business decision, quote unquote. Right. And they're like, yeah, it is cowardly, but it's also the right thing to do. And none of the team is going to be mad. And I think it's all situational. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Like, but don't you hate seeing that happen at a time where like it's a little bit too meaningful to let that go? Like, or like, and it's also a field position thing. Like those quarterbacks, if you throw out an interception in your own end and they've already got points pretty much. But if you're down, if you throw a red zone interception, man, like it's like you need to do everything you can still at that point. And of course it depends on the situation too. But yeah, I mean, those guys make their careers last a lot longer by not doing stupid things like that. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. I don't think you'll get that from one of the Ticat quarterbacks this year. These guys are pretty tough.
Yeah, Sully, and plus, Sully's built like a linebacker anyways. So like, I wouldn't want to get tackled by Jeremiah.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I've seen him truck stick more than a handful of people in his lifetime.
Cool, man. Well, excited for this weekend for the Ticats' last regular season game. Excited to see you up there with our Ticats Audio Network crew. Right, this is our last chance to polish up our broadcast before we have to be in playoff mode. But I'm ready. We're ready to go.
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Good deal. I'll see you up there. Get some sleep with those little babies.
Will do. Ciao, buddy.
Task and Tuz. Like and subscribe to hang with them weekly.